I think it's admirable that we have put some teeth to the state law, because with the state law, it follows ADA. If you have a dog in training or you have a service dog, or they have the same rights as the federal dogs do. And as you know, there's not a national registration for animals, official, which would help. And there are some who are working on some federal laws that would give it some teeth. We just aren't there yet. So is it a good idea? Of course it is. It would also be nice if people who are in a position in stores, managers, would ask. I mean, they can, even if it's a service dog, you can ask 2 questions. Is this your service dog? What are the tasks this dog does for you? They can ask those 2 questions. They're not going to get sued for that. And they can ask those 2 questions. And if it's a real service dog, people can answer it. They're going to know what tasks are, and they can say what some of the tasks are the dogs perform. Because they don't have to say what their disability is, only what the dog does for them.
Got you. Is it still easy for people to lie, though? Like, you can kind of Google, like...
Of course people lie. And yes, it is easy to do that. However, you can also look at the dog. If the dog is all over the place, it's not acting appropriately. And even if they say it is a service dog, but the dog is not acting appropriately, and by that I mean barking. If they're in a place of where food is served, they're trying to jump up on the counter to get the food. That's not appropriate for a service dog to do. And so the owners could say, you're welcome to stay here and shop with us, but your dog will have to leave because it's not acting appropriately. A service animal is an animal that has that is specifically trained to assist a person in whatever their disability is. So they have to assist in their disabilities. So for instance, it could be a dog who alerts when a seizure is about to happen, or if a seizure happens, the dog is trained to help the person get to a seated position or lying down. If it's a dog who is alerting for diabetes, then they have signals, they have alert signals that they give the person. If the person has PTSD and has certain times they need to take medications, the dog will alert them, it's time to take your medication. So they have specific things, and those are what tasks are, and they have to perform them for that person. And we have to remember, a service animal is not a pet. And that's something that's difficult for people. That's why you're asked never to touch a service animal, because they are working all the time. If their job is to alert someone that they're about to have a seizure, or if their sugar is going low or high, if you're standing there petting them, then they're not going to be able to do their job. So that's why you don't want to interrupt a dog when they're working. So those are the kinds of tasks that they have.
So when people lie about this, it's kind of like a slap in the face to the people who actually have service dogs.
Oh, absolutely. And the thing is, it puts them in danger, because just as we've added this new law in Alabama, people will add laws, lots and lots of laws, and eventually there will come a moment in time when they say, well, service dogs have to be trained by this particular certified person, and they have to take certain tests provided by this certified person. And I'm not against any of that, except that I have seen service dogs trained by their person, and they perform tasks wonderfully. So, and the person did not have the financial backing to hire somebody to train them. It's expensive. And you may or may not realize this, but if you buy a service dog, $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000. If you're fortunate enough to be able to get a dog through CCI or through Alabama Service Dogs, that's different. But even if they say, well, okay, so you can train your own service dog, but it has to have this test. Well, if the test is $100, for someone who is disabled, that's not a possibility. But if you say they have to have this test and it's $25, then there is a monetary expense to it, which makes it real. You have a test that is real, that you have to pass. And you say, okay, you have to pass this test every 2-3 years so that you know the dog stays up on its skills and the person is still using the dog.